Well, we're going to go upstairs in my little storage loft here where I have some of my old skateboards, kind of going back to the 70s and 90s, a little bit of everything. I mean, wheels, t-shirts. It's the archive.
Wow. It's pretty tight up here.
This is my skateboards I've had since I was, a little kid.
Every skateboard you've ever rode?
Pretty much. Maybe one or two missing, but since probably about 78, 79, I always took my deck off, slid it in a box.
This is almost 40 years of skateboards. These are so cool, Jim.
I'm very fortunate that I've got to be involved in all this stuff, My big brother was obsessed with skateboarding, watching, Stacy Peralta and, coming home and mimicking him. I'm Stacy Peralta, and, spinning 360s, and I just kind of rode around the sidewalk, and one day he finally dragged me to the skate park, and I took to it quick, and I got sponsored about 3 months later, which was almost a cruel joke for my brother, but because
you got sponsored.
I got
before
sponsored.
He did.
Yeah. I mean, he never got sponsored. He was a good skateboarder, and he was really into it. But I took to it, and it was pretty natural. It felt pretty good.
And at what point did you decide maybe I want to start my own business or become an entrepreneur? Was it something that just happened very logically?
Well, I think I was naturally inclined towards that. I mean, I worked in a mortgage business for a few years, but I was always skateboarding after work. And I'd show up in a ramp with a suit and tie on, and guys would look at like, "Who's this kook?" And then I'd take my stuff out, change in the car, and then I'd smoke them into the ground. They'd be like, "Hey, bro." But I think I just always had the spirit sort of to work for myself. And when I was 23, I went to Larry Balma, who owned Tracker Trucks, and Transworld Skateboard magazine, and said, "Hey, I'd like to do something with you." And what I did is I sold all the advertising for Transworld Skateboarding magazine. During selling those ads, I dealt with every single company. I dealt with every guy at the wheel companies, at Powell, Santa Cruz, every major brand in that era. And I just really at some point just sat and said, man, if these guys can do it, I can do it.
I mean, there's old school.
Yeah, there's a couple Acme boards.
These are
That's
old
just
Acme boards, right?
Yeah, those are screen printed, just probably those are probably late 90s, 1999. There you go. So in that range, 1999, 2000. Yeah, this, I believe, is the best-selling board Acme ever made.
No.
Remember when 3D software was so fresh? I mean, it was like, this board, my buddy Greg Hodina, he made this out of our A logo. It took 24 hours to render on his computer. And I think I sold like 7,000 or 8,000 of this board. We did, with this comic company called Extreme Studios in the 90s, we made a ton of comic book graphics. The funny thing is the comic book companies would go, but this isn't our superstar character, or she isn't, but we're selling art. We're selling, I'm not selling, X-Men, I mean, that's when you go to like Kmart and sell to little kiddies because the movie came out. If you looked at Acme's advertising, we were disruptive as hell because we were just mocking the skateboard industry. And I think that's why we built a following too. The whole industry was now getting built around, everybody turned all their amateurs pro and gave them a model. And I'm like, how embarrassing is that? That kids that aren't even really at the level yet are now pros with models. And so when I started Acme, I made no pro models. But then I went to prove the other side of it, that I was true to skateboarding. I got top 10 pro skateboarders, Omar Hassan, Remy Stratton, guys that were doing well in competitions like that, and they rode for me without pro models. But I also got a lot of heat from the other companies, like, oh, Jim's ripping off pro skateboarders because he doesn't give them that notoriety they deserve. I'm like, no, I put them on the back cover of the magazine in a big expensive ad that you don't put on the back cover of the magazine. So part of Acme started as a statement. The skateboarding industry is so full of crap that they're manipulating you and trying to pull wool over your eyes and smoke and mirrors. No, I want to be a company that I just know if you buy an Acme, it's going to work. It's going to be a good skateboard. Hopefully it's going to look good. And so we focused on shapes and designs and art and stuff like that, and it worked. And I think it really freaked out the skateboard industry. Like, there's no way Jim's going to fail, and all we did was grow. Most of the guys that were my competition companies stopped skateboarding. I just kept skateboarding because it was fun. So I think I remained true to skateboarding. Those guys became business guys, pure and simple.
Yeah.
But if you forget about the fact, why do you make a skateboard company? And all you do is worry about, like, how do I get the bottom line up 50 grand? I go, no, fuck that. How do I have more fun? And if I have fun, maybe my bottom line will go up because I'll sell some more product. But I wasn't going to let business be the only thing. So I thought business was the easy part. I really did. So, here we have just various boxes of samples of wheels we made. I mean, these literally were the original Acme wheels. The first wheel, see, Formula One.
This was the era that I started skating in. Look at
what's really funny is, see, I followed every trend. This is 1991 straight out the gate, 60 millimeters. By 1993, nobody would make a 60 millimeter because everybody wanted little ones. These are all shirts that were never sold in America. They were only sold in Japan. And, you know, so I mean, look at that. That's definitely, you know, that's a very Japanese adaptation of Acme.
I can't believe how intact these are.
That's kind of classic. This was really fun. This was a great era of Acme. Me and Jinx drove to 10 fast food drive-thrus in a row, sat and sampled these, took a bite out of them while we laid out our artboard. By the time we'd have one bite of a Wiener Schnitzel, one bite of a hamburger, a couple French fries, we had flies swarming around and everything like that. And this is shot with a large format camera.
This has got to be one of my favorites. What was the lifespan of Acme all said and done?
I mean, Acme started in 1991. Its run of growth and everything was truly only till about 1997, 98. We got sued by World Industries, and it just that threw our whole kilter off. We had to pull our ads out of the magazines because our cash flow got too bad and upside down. We lost like almost $1 million in a year. But I mean, some of these tabs are from our lawsuit with World Industries. We would show various things like graphics they ripped off or something like that, because when World Industries sued us, they sued us because we made fun of them, and they sued us for slander. And they sued us for trademark libel and trademark infringement because we made fun of their characters, Wet Willie and so on and so forth. And we countersued them for unfair competition, amongst other things. And we said they built their whole business on stealing from other people. It's like, and we just did the same thing to them to make fun of them.
Our collaboration together, is this kind of the first revival since then? In a sense?
It is really, yeah, absolutely. I haven't, I think about it all the time. People ask me about it once you redo some Acme stuff, and because now it's retro. You know what I mean? It wasn't, for a while it would have been like, trying to, revive a dead horse or something like that. But now I think our place in the history of skateboarding is pretty solidified, and I'm pretty confident about it.